Adding, subtracting vectors, scalar multiplication of vectors, magnitude. Okay, question number 1. Vector v is equal 4i minus 7j. Vector w is equal negative 3i plus 3j. We need to find 3v plus 4w. So first of all, we need to find 3v and then 4w, right? So 3 times v, this 3 is a scalar multiplication. Why we use scalar? Because multiplication of vectors, it's completely different story. That will come after this video, will be next one. It's a completely different story. That's why I devoted separate topic, separate video for that. So 3v, it's going to be equal 3 times 4i minus 7j. So this is equal 12i distributing minus 21j. And next 4w is equal 4 times negative 3i plus 3j, which is equal negative 12i plus 12j. Now we need to add additional vectors. 3v plus 4w, it's going to be equal 12i minus 21j minus 12i plus 12j, and as a result we are getting 3v plus 4w is equal, let me see, this is gone, right? And we get negative 21j plus 12, it's going to be negative 9j. Question number 2. So we used addition and scalar multiplication on vectors. Next one. V is equal negative 5i plus 6j, and then w is equal 3i minus 5j. Okay, and we need to find magnitude of difference between two vectors. Okay, so first we need to find the difference between two vectors. This is going to be negative 5i plus 6j minus 3i plus 5j. Okay, and this is equal negative 8i plus 11j. Now let's take magnitude. Magnitude of vector v minus w. Okay, and this is equal. So practically we are figuring out the magnitude, right? The length of the vector that represent the difference between vector v and vector w. So we have negative 8 squared plus 11 squared. That is going to be 64 plus 121, and the answer is magnitude of difference between two vectors. It's going to be square root of 185. Okay, question number 3. Vector v is equal negative 4i plus 3j. Vector w is equal 6i minus 2j. we need to find the difference between two magnitudes of V minus W. Okay, so first we need to find magnitude of vector V. It's equal -4 squared plus 3 squared, that is equal 5. And the magnitude of vector W is equal 6 squared plus -2 squared. And the answer is 2 square root 10. So from here, difference between magnitude of vectors, magnitude of V minus magnitude of W is equal 5 minus 2 square root of 10. Okay, question number 4. Vector V is equal 3i minus 4j. Vector W is equal xi plus 7j. And it's given also the magnitude of sum of two vectors. Magnitude of sum of these two vectors is equal 4. So we need to find x from here. This x. Okay? So, let's find the sum of two vectors. 3i minus 4j plus xi plus 7j. We are getting 3 plus x by I and plus 3j. So we took common factor I out, right? Now the magnitude of this sum is going to be equal square root 3 plus x squared plus 3 squared, which is going to be equal, so 3 plus x squared, it's a plus b squared, it's going to be 9 plus 6x plus x squared plus 9. Whoever doesn't remember how to square, perfect square, a plus b squared. Okay, and from here we are getting the magnitude of v plus w vectors is equal x squared plus 6x plus 18. All I did, combine these like terms. Okay, at the same time, we know that v plus w magnitude is equal 4. So I'm going to write down, put equal sign between them, right? X squared plus 6x plus 18. This is equal 4, which means, so solve this equation. I'm going to square it, right? If I square, I will get here x squared plus 6x plus 18 equal 4 squared. Let me put here square. Okay. So from here, we are getting x squared plus 6x plus 18 minus 16 equals 0. And x squared plus 6x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, I can't FOIL it, so I'm going to go through determinant. So remember, x1, 2 is equal negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so from here, what do we have? Our, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So our A is equal 1, our B is equal 6, our C is equal 2. So from here, x1, 2 is equal negative 6 plus minus 6 squared 36 minus 4 times A times C divided by 2A, which means negative 6 plus minus 36 minus 8 is going to be 28 over 2. Okay, x1 from here is equal negative 6 plus minus, well, let's see. I'm doing drafting, square root of 28. I'm breaking down. This is 4 and this is 7. So square root of 4 is 2 and square root 7 stays underneath. So we are going to have 6 plus minus 2 square root 7 over 2. 1 and 2, comma 1 and 2 with me. So which is equal, let me this 7 also write down. Okay, which is equal, I can take 2 out and I will get negative 3 plus minus square root 7 over 2. This 2 is gone, so we are getting the answer where x1 is equal negative 3 plus square root 7 and x2 is equal negative 3 minus square root 7. So we solved the problem, we found the value of x. And question number 5, we have vector v is equal to I plus 3j, or if we want to write down in the format of coordinates, it's going to be equal 2 and 3, right? I represent x, j represent y. And w, vector w is equal 3I minus 4j. If we want to represent in the format of coordinate, it's going to be 3 and negative 4, right? So we have question A, we need to find 3v. Question B, we need to find 2v minus 3w. And we need to find magnitude of vector v. All right, so 3 times v, 3 vector v, it's going to be equal 3 times 2I plus 3j is equal 6I plus 9j. And okay, that's vector 3v, that's A. And B, we need to find 2v minus 3w. Okay, I'm going to do at once. 2v minus 3w is equal 2 times 2I plus 3j and minus 3 times 3I minus 4j. Okay, so from here, this is equal 4I plus 12j minus 9I plus 12j. And what do we get here? Result is going to be 4I negative 9I. It's going to be negative 5I and plus 24j. Okay, and this is B. Now, and let's find also magnitude of vector v. Pretty straightforward. It's going to be equal 2 squared plus 3 squared. It's going to be 4 plus 9 square root of 13. And we are done. Okay. And the next topic is a unit vector. I forgot to add in the title unit vector. No problem, I'll add after recording. All right. unit vector. Just like since you are learning vectors, that means you have learned already unit circle, which means unit circle. When we say the word unit, that means 1. Unit circle, the radius is 1. Unit vector, that means the vector is 1, equal 1. Okay? So, let's see. Question number 1. Vector v is equal negative 10j. And we need to find unit vector u, which is equal vector v divided by magnitude of vector v. That will be your unit vector. Okay, it's like you paid $25 per 5 apples, for 5 apples. How much is 1 apple? Okay, 1 apple is cost $5, and that will be a kind of unit vector. Not the best example, but that's first thing came in my mind. So you can rough connection. Why is not the best example? Because apple doesn't have direction. Okay, v is equal negative tj, 10j. So we need to find unit vector. Okay, to find unit vector, we need to know, first of all, the magnitude. So since our I here is 0, all we're going to do, negative 10 squared, which is going to be equal 10. And unit vector is equal vector v over magnitude of unit vector v. It's going to be negative 10 divided by 10j. This is gone, and it's equal negative j. Okay, question number 2. Vector v is equal 3i plus 4j. So we need to find unit vector. Okay, so to find unit vector, again, we need to find magnitude first, which is equal 3 squared plus 4 squared, and we are getting 9 plus 16, it's going to be 25, and we have it 5. So unit vector is equal vector v divided by magnitude of vector v, and we get 3i plus 4j divided by 5, which is equal 3/5 of I plus 4/5 of j. And one more example, and I am done. So vector v is equal I minus 5j. And we want to find, again, unit vector. So absolute value, it's magnitude, the length of vector is equal. Since I is 1, we are using 1 squared plus negative 5 squared, and we are getting square root of 26. Now vector unit vector u is equal vector v, which is I minus 5j, this dividing by square root of 26. This is equal I over square root of 26 minus 5 over square root of 26j. Since we cannot have the radical in denominator, we are going to rationalize, which means what we are going to do. So 1 over square root of 26 I'm going to multiply by square root 26, because the purpose is to get rid of the radical in denominator. And same operation I do here. And then minus 5 over square root 26j. Here is going to be again square root 26, square root 26. And the result is going to be square root 26 over 26i minus 5 square root 26 over 26j. And we got the unit vector. Okay, next topic is going to be multiplication of vectors. See you again.